How long does it take to learn how to read the Akashic Records? This is going to be a very vague answer because there's no general linear timeline for that. It is a lifelong experience. Is there ever an end to healing and growing and evolving? No. Is one day you wake up and you say, I would learn how to read the Akashic Records, and then you're off to the races for infinity. There are so many of us, Lightworkers and empaths, who have done this in previous incarnations. This is not your first go around. If you are drawn to them, it is because you have done an immense amount of soul work, because this stuff can get really intense and heavy sometimes, and really deep emotional processing and stripping down and phoenix transformation and walking through the fires and just these huge ancestral and generational clear outs. It's an intense process. And yes, there are beautiful, magical, whimsical, lighthearted things that come along with the Akashic Records as well. But the whole point of them is to really strip your identity down and rebirth yourself in this transformative, metamorphic, what's the things that butterflies go into? I said it, never mind. Metamorphic, going into a cocoon. It's you reaching new levels of yourself on a consistent basis. I was explaining to someone the other day that there is this precipice point that you hit in your healing journey where it's super, super, super difficult, and then a little less difficult, and a little less difficult, and then there's this kind of hill that you get over, and then it's so much easier. And I'm not saying there's not going to be challenges or what feel like blockages or, frustrations, but you handle them with so much more grace and compassion and empathy for self, and it's almost like your brain is working on autopilot. There are behavioral patterns and triggers that come up for me, to this day, but my brain knows how to work with them. It says, okay, let's take a step back. It's okay to feel our emotions, but let's also look at it from an observant level. How can we see this in a new perspective? Can we step into the other person's shoes and look at, what experiences and traumas that they have been? Why are they reacting to us in this way? It's you being able to speak to yourself on a higher awareness level to support you in processing through things, whether that is perceived negative or positive experiences. It is your consciousness evolving on autopilot. It's like you're given this formula of XYZ. Okay, here's the problem or the challenge. Here is different perspectives. Here is a solution. And you can apply that to multitudes of areas of life. Again, I equate it to going to a friend and asking them for advice. They can see things that you cannot because they are outside of the situation. That's what the Akashic Records are, is teaching you how to be that friend that is outside of yourself. The moment that you decide, I want to read my Akashic Records, or I want to read for others, which you need to be reading your own if you want to read for others, that's your journey. That's the path that you're going to go on. There's no okay, now I can do it. No, it's when you make that commitment to yourself. And oftentimes people are making the Akashic Records a much bigger deal than it needs to be because it's of great reverence. It's very deep soul work. It's holding somebody's, path or their soul maps or their contracts or karmic lessons in your hands. And yes, there comes a big responsibility with that. We need to be very intentional. We need to continue to evolve our toolkits. However, if this is the path for you, that's your natural personality. You are going to continue to want to upgrade and up level because that's part of being an Akashic Record reader, is a energetic template within you that says, I need to have as much knowledge and wisdom and different perspectives and compassion and love and grace and empathy and intelligence that you will continue to be on this hyper self-aware journey. Because that is what an Akashic record reader is. So again, there's no starting and kind of stopping point, or there's no pinpoint that you can put of, oh, this is the time. Okay. When I first heard about the Akashic records, when I heard that word, I said, oh, this is for me. And I went on this deep dive, and as I'm learning about them, I mean, that was it. It was when I heard the word. And I realized, oh, I am an Akashic record reader. The most important thing the most important thing to me in my life is evolving myself in whatever type of capacity that means, and also helping other people evolve past themselves. I give so many readings to people, and I'm like, you're already accessing the Akashic records. And they're like, no, I didn't know that. It's a depth level of self-recognition that people are accessing. It's not surface level things. It is, I want to become the very best version of myself, not only in this incarnation, but all of them. I want to exponentially, infinitely expand as a soul. And there is nothing that is going to get in your way of that goal. You are going to keep trucking through. And when you give yourself permission to call yourself an Akashic record reader, your whole entire paradigm and experience will mold around you to push you forward in those directions. I can meet with somebody and determine if they have hit those depth levels within themselves of Akasha level work in like a 5 or 10 minute conversation. And that's no judgment, because we've all been different versions of self. There's a time where I was not at those depth levels either, but I can see how much energy that somebody has cleared out of their field, and how their brain mapping works, and what their goals are as a soul overall for themselves, also for the collective, and say, oh yeah, you're already there. And then when I tell them that, they say, oh, I'm already doing it. Like, yes. So there needs to be more people giving themselves permission slips of, I'm already at this level. I can do this. I'm already doing it.